look at multiplying polynomials in a bunch of different forms. Let's first do a quick review about standard form of a polynomial. So this is when you have a polynomial and you want to write it from the highest power to the lowest. So what that might look like is if you have something where you have a bunch of different terms. You want to look at each term and make sure that you're writing them, we'll add a y here, from the highest power to the lowest. So we're going to put the 16x cubed first. Then this one, positive 6x squared. Then we have two terms that have a variable. So at this point, it really doesn't matter. I'll keep it consistent. And since I have x's here, I'll put my 4x next and then 8y at the end. Now, obviously, if this had no variable, it would be a constant, and that's what you would put at the end anyways. So that is how you write a polynomial in standard form. Now let's start multiplying some of them. So we'll start with something just a bit basic. We have a monomial, 6x, and we're going to multiply it times a trinomial, x squared minus 4x minus 3. So we're simply just distributing. 6x times x squared is 6x cubed. This one is negative 24x squared. And this one is negative 18x. Let's try something a bit more complicated. And let's say we're going to multiply a binomial times a binomial. We're still going to distribute. We do our fronts, our outers, our inners, and then our last terms. This is called the method FOIL. So let's look at this again. We do our fronts, we do our outers, we do our inner, and then we do our last terms. So here we go. X times 3x is 3x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Now our inners. Negative 6 times 3x is negative 18x. Our outers. Negative 6, or our last one, excuse me. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. Now we look to see if we can combine any like terms. There's no other x squared, so that stays the same. 4x minus 18x gives us negative 14x. And finally, we have negative 24. So this will be our final polynomial, and it has 3 terms, so we know it's specifically called a trinomial. Up here, this was our final, also had 3 terms, called a trinomial. Let's do one more where we are going to multiply a binomial times a trinomial. Now this FOIL method only really works when you have a binomial times a binomial. But you're going to apply the same process with a binomial times a trinomial. Okay. So we do our first ones. 2x squared times negative 3x squared is negative 6x to the power of 4. Multiplying terms with variables and exponents, we add the exponents. Next one, let's go to the second term in the trinomial. 2x squared times 4x gives us 8x cubed. 2x squared times negative 2 gives us negative 4x squared. Now we're done, we've multiplied everything times our first term in the binomial. We're going to multiply everything times the second. Negative 3x times negative 3x squared gives us positive 9x cubed. Negative 3x times 4x gives us negative 12x squared. And finally, negative 3x times negative 2 is positive 6x. This is a very nice long polynomial. Now, we are going to combine like terms to simplify it and then leave it as that. So our highest power here is a 4. There's no other terms with that power, so we leave that in the front. We have two terms that are cubed. 8x cubed plus 9x cubed is 17x cubed. Negative 4x squared minus 12x squared is negative 16x squared. And finally, we have a positive 6x at the end. We double check to make sure it's written in standard form, that we're going from the highest power to the lowest power, and we're good. We have no other like terms to collect and combine, so that's our final polynomial. And that is how we multiply polynomials.